Hi everybody, my name is Sandy Boucher and welcome back to The Learning Curve. Today we're going to talk about a topic that you may or may not be familiar with, and that's child welfare. Specifically, the child welfare system that is made up of children's aid societies, whether mainstream or Indigenous agencies like Delico or Tikanagan. Now, according to Indigenous Service Minister Jane Philpott, the overrepresentation of Indigenous children and youth in government care is a humanitarian crisis. Now, you may have heard of this in the news lately, and there's justifiable reasons we should be talking about this. National data on kids in care is hard to come by because provincial and territorial jurisdiction comes into play. However, the most recent census shows 52% of kids in care under the age of 15 are Indigenous. And that's compared to the fact that only 8% of children in Canada under the age of 15 are Indigenous. More than 90% of Manitoba's 11,000 kids in care are Indigenous, and 64% in BC. The outcomes for children in the child welfare system, Indigenous or not, are not good. In BC, kids are more likely to wind up in jail than they are to graduate high school. Across Canada, kids in and from the foster care system make up 60% of homeless youth and a third of all homeless adults. And that's not the only crisis. Today, we're not only going to talk about the shortcomings of the child welfare system, but we're going to talk about something that's known as aging out. What happens to these kids when they get too old to be covered by the child welfare system. I'm going to introduce you to an amazing young woman today by the name of Lillyanna Mckay. Now, you may ask yourself, how do these kids end up in care? Well, there's a wide range of circumstances that can be at play, and Lily's is one of the most tragic I've ever heard. On March 17th, 1995, her biological father committed suicide. On April 1st, 2006, her stepfather committed suicide. And on May 16th, 2006, her mom committed suicide. May 16th happens to be Lillyanna's birthday. But you may have already made assumptions about this young woman, and I'm going to tell you, you are so wrong, because I've met her and you're going to be just as amazed with her as I was. So as always, go grab that coffee, head for that comfy chair, and we'll be back in a few minutes as together we walk through the learning curve. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Learning Curve. Once again, I'm Sandy Boucher, and today we're here with Lillyanna Mckay. Nice to have you on board. Thanks for agreeing to come out today and talk about your story. Awesome. Okay, so you are not from Thunder Bay.
No.
Where are you from?
I'm from Big Trout Lake.
Oh, now see, I was wrong. I start off every show just with like personal questions so the audience gets to know my guests. And I actually thought it was Sandy Lake, so I'm so glad I didn't say that because I totally wrong community, right? So Big Trout Lake. Yeah. So is that a big community? Any guesses on how many people? I totally put you on the spot. I didn't.
I'm guessing there's like at least like 2,000 to 10,000 people there.
Wow, okay, amazing. So, because I know, and I can't even remember which community it is so bad, Fort Hope. When I went to Fort Hope, it was way bigger than when we talk about remote communities. I don't know, you just picture some tiny little place, and it wasn't tiny at all, right? So Big Trout Lake's like that as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so how long have you been in Thunder Bay?
About 6 years now.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So you're new to Thunder Bay. You went to school in Big Trout Lake, public school? Yes.
For a while. Yes.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Churchill.
Churchill?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And you went to school for a while in Fort Francis too, right?
Yes.
Because I seem to remember a conversation we've had. I met Lillyanna recently because we were doing an event together. We were actually both speaking at it. Lillyanna now does public speaking and has traveled and done talks at some pretty amazing places. So I was quite thrilled to meet her, and we had a really good chat about her educational experiences. So that's another show, so we won't go into that today. So we are talking about the child welfare system, and I know you are a child welfare activist. This is something that is very near and dear to you.
Yes.
So I mentioned in the opening, and first off, I want to say how absolutely sorry I am for what happened to you and what you faced at such a young age. But you didn't face this alone. So you have a lot of siblings. There's 8 of you in total?
Yes, there's 8 of us.
Okay, so you were 12
Yes.
when you lost your mom. Now, we're going to run through the ages. So Arlene's the oldest. So this happened, she's 18.
Yeah.
Then Nadine's 13.
Yes.
So you two are really close, or
Yes,
no?
we're
Yes.
really close.
Okay. You were 12. Kyler's 6. Tyler's 5. Cecily?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, she was only 4.
Yeah.
And then the twins, Bronson and Bryson, are both 2.
Yes.
Wow. So what happens? You're in a remote community, and when we talk about the remote communities, there's not a lot of support up there. It's not like you have all the agencies like you have here in Thunder Bay. So what happens?
Well, they didn't have enough foster homes in the reserve for us.
Okay.
And Tikanagan was just really struggling because there was so much of us, they didn't know what to do for us.
Yeah.
So the best they could do was send us out off reserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that happen immediately, or were you at home for a while, or?
Well, they left us at the women's shelter for a few days so
Okay.
we can say goodbye to each other.
Right. Wow. On
Yeah.
top of everything.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get split up.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So everyone goes in different directions.
Yes.
I'm going to assume. Do you know where everyone goes, or
No, we didn't exactly know where everybody went.
did you know where you were going to go?
No.
So they just put you on a plane and you don't know where it's heading?
Yeah.
This sounds a little too much residential school as far as I'm concerned, right? It's like, wow. Okay. So you go on a plane by yourself, or
I had a few other siblings with me.
okay, who's with you?
My sister Cecily, my
Yeah.
brother Bronson, my sister Nadine, and Arlene.
Okay, they split up the twins?
Yes, they split up to twins.
Wow. Okay. So you get on this plane. Where do you land?
Thunder Bay.
Okay.
And there we stayed at my aunt's house for a few days.
Okay.
And then there they decided which homes we were going to go to.
Okay. And I'm going to assume now you're only 12, but
Yeah.
I'm going to assume you're not part of these discussions.
No.
Right? It's not like you're looking at a map and deciding where you want to live. That's
Yeah.
not the way this process works. So what happens then? You get split up again?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you go?
I went with my godparents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you by yourself at that
Yes,
point?
not by myself.
Okay. Where were your godparents?
They were in Thunder Bay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you stay in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who was with you. Where did they go? Do they stay in the city of Thunder Bay, or they're scattered?
My sister Arlene, she decided to get her own place and take
Okay.
care of Bronson.
Oh, okay.
And my sister Nadine and stayed with my aunt.
Okay.
And then Cecily went off to Sulakaut,
Wow. Okay. Was there family there, or is this a foster home?
a foster home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're 12.
Mm-hmm.
You get sent by yourself to your godparents.
Yes.
How long do you stay there?
Couple months.
Oh, not long.
Yeah.
Okay. They just aren't able to take care of you, or?
They weren't able to take care of me emotionally. Yeah.
Right? I
And
can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So, Okay, so now what happens?
Well, I got sent off to treatment.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because you're acting out or rebelling or,
I couldn't connect with anybody emotionally anymore.
right?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking that would be a normal reaction to what you've been through. Okay, so you get sent off to treatment. Dare I ask where?
In Fort Francis or Kuchijing, the reserve
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So how long are you there?
About 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad when 9 months is a stable environment, right?
Yeah.
This is a scary story here. So what happens after treatment?
I went to a foster home there.
In Fort Francis?
Yes.
Okay.
My grief counselor took me in.
Aw,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, that on some level, now I'm not sure what emotional state you were in at that point, but at some level that had to feel good.
Yes,
right?
it felt very good.
Right? She cares enough that, no, I'm taking this one in, right? You're
Yeah.
staying with me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how old are you at this point?
We
13,
were
14.
celebrating my 13th birthday.
Okay, wow, that's a lot to happen in 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're with her, you're in Fort, awesome. How long do you stay?
About a year, and
Okay.
then I went back to my reserve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, was that your choice?
My sister kind of forced me to stay there with her.
Okay,
Yeah.
which sister?
Nadine.
Okay,
She didn't last long with my aunt, so she went back to the reserve.
okay, and
No.
she's going, please come home. Please
Yeah.
come home. I need you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the two closest in age, right? So
Yeah.
please, okay, I get it. I get that part. So you go back to Big Trout Lake.
Yeah, and I was only there for a month, and then she took off on me and went back to Fort Francis. And then she met my grief counselor, and she took her in.
Okay. Are you still in Big Trout Lake at this point?
No.
You both came back.
Yeah, we both came back.
Okay, good. Okay.
To live
I'm-
with our counselor.
Yeah, okay. I'm liking this grief counselor. I don't know who this person is, but I'm really liking this woman.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're both together.
Yes.
Dare I ask how long?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then?
That's when we started aging out. So
Ah, ha, ha. Okay.
yeah.
So we're going to talk about that after the break. So let's focus on in care at this point. Now, you were lucky you did have someone who stepped up and took you in, but the youth I've spoken to, there's a lot of bouncing around from home to home to home. Have you had interactions with a lot of kids that were in care?
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of, is it a good system in your mind?
No, it's a very flawed system.
Okay, so what are the biggest concerns? What needs to change that you see?
I noticed like a lot of the people in the reserve, they're not really qualified to handle anything.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're not trained, they're not,
No, none of them are trained.
okay. So yeah, it's more just a willing person as opposed to someone who has like the training to deal with the emotional challenges or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not seeing a lot of stability,
Yeah.
right? The kids are getting bounced from home to home. So not feeling very loved, right? Did you, now your situation's slightly different because you had this counselor that cared so much, but do you agree that the kids normally, they're not feeling loved, they're not feeling cared for?
Yeah, I find that like a lot of the kids in care, they depend on each other only.
Wow.
And
Oh, that's interesting because that might be happening what's here in Thunder Bay. We definitely see the kids hanging on to each other, right?
Yeah.
That shared experience, right?
yeah.
Okay, so Nadine aged out first.
Yeah.
So did she stay with the counselor or she went off somewhere and you were just there?
Nadine, we both came to Thunder Bay because I got pregnant.
Okay,
Yeah, so we kind of just aged out in Thunder Bay.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, Lillyanna is an amazing mom of a little sweetheart that she has and dedicated to raising her daughter. So We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to focus on aging out and what that means and what happens to these kids in care when they do age out. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to go fill that coffee again and then sneak right back, because you're not going to want to miss the next part. Talk to you soon. And welcome back to the Learning Curve. Once again, I'm Sandy Boucher, and today we're here with Lillyanna Mckay, and we're talking about the child welfare system. And now we're going to focus specifically on aging out. Now, I had never heard of the term before. Honestly, all these years, I knew about the child welfare crisis. I knew about how many kids are in care and how it's ridiculous numbers, that there are more kids in care now than when during the residential school era. It's ridiculous. But aging out, I honestly hadn't heard about until I met you.
Yeah.
So aging out happens when? At 16?
For me, it was 16, but 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so these kids age out, they're technically no longer children anymore.
Yes.
So you're living in a foster home or whatever, and suddenly 18th birthday, what happens?
They come with you with paperwork, and you have to sign it, and your file is just closed. But if you're a Crown ward, you can have a monthly allowance if you listen to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you get to stay in the foster home?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay. So you're 18, you've bounced around. You may even be in a new town or city that you haven't even been in long, depending on your foster home situation. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you age out.
Yeah.
You're 18. You can get a monthly allowance, but it depends. And I'm going to bet it's tons of money, right?
Yeah.
How much money are we talking about?
Well, when I aged out, it was only $800.
$800.
But I believe they increased it to like $1,100 now.
Okay. But still, I know in the city of Thunder Bay, if you're an Indigenous person, have fun finding a landlord that's going to rent to you.
Yeah.
If you're an 18-year-old Indigenous person, let's throw ageism in there as well as racism, right? So now you're just, landlords are slamming doors, and you wouldn't even have the money anyways, considering rent rates.
Yeah.
So what's happening to these kids?
A lot of them, I find, become homeless.
Scary.
Yeah.
Now we're talking absolutely vulnerable.
Yeah.
Scary. There's cases where they're choosing suicide as an option because they feel so left out and not wanted and the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to guess some are going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to see the crime rates. I'm going to bet addictions play into this, right? If I'm living on the street, I'm going to escape no matter how, whatever way I can, right?
Yes.
So, and that's where I met you, because recently we did an event out at Quitico to talk about aging out. And we had a lot of youth there that are in this system, that are going to be aging out. We're talking about, now remember the numbers I shared in the beginning, all of those kids are going to be aging out at some point, and they have no place to go. They don't necessarily have skills to be on their own, right? It's not like mom and dad are setting them up in an apartment. That's just not the case here. So what are your hopes? You're an activist. You're walking around the country. She's not walking. She's traveling around the country talking to different audiences. So what kind of changes would you like to see? What are you hoping for the future?
Well, I hope like the people on reserve that are working for Tikanagan, Delico, they get the training they need.
Right.
So they can know how to deal with situations like this.
Okay.
For me, my workers just wanted to close my file and get rid of me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know the suicide rates in our communities, right? So this is not rare,
Yeah.
sadly. So definitely that training needs to be done. What would you like to see in place for the kids that are aging out?
I hope they get support.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I wish they could like let them know like a year before, start helping them out.
Yeah. Preparing them.
Yeah,
right?
prepare them.
That's an awesome idea. That's what we do with our kids when they're at home, right? We're going to help set you up to go off to school or to your own place or whatever it is. I can remember when my daughter was that age. It was that was that rite of passage to help her buy stuff for her first apartment and whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, preparing them, budgeting skills and looking at the cost of things just so you have an idea, so you're not doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Or teaming up with a bunch of other youths who also don't have the skills,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to focus on your motivational speaking career for a second because this still blows me away. And Lily can tell you, I was like, what? You do what? Because it's one of the number one skills or number one fears that humans have is public speaking, and you chose it as a career.
Yeah.
So why? I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm certain I've asked you already, but why did you choose public speaking?
Well, like you said, it's a fear, and I wanted to conquer it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go. Yeah. So what are your hopes and dreams for the future, for you personally?
Well, I just hope to be happy in my life.
How are you doing now?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a gorgeous little girl. How old is she?
She's 6.
Awesome. And her name?
Lillyanna Mckay.
Awesome. Awesome. So just enjoying being a mom and cherishing those moments.
Yeah.
And I know you have hopes to go on in your education, right?
Yes.
So you graduated high school, yes, no?
Yes, I did.
Yes, awesome, way to go. Congratulations. So have you done any post-secondary yet or no?
No.
Just enjoying time with little girl right now while she's still little.
Yeah.
Right? So that good for you. Good for you. Now, I know when we were out at Quiddico, I know there's some interested parties looking at maybe setting up a place where kids that age out can go.
Yeah.
That they can finally feel wanted, welcome. This is the place you can come to. And even with cultural supports, especially for Indigenous kids, right, who have totally been separated away from their culture. Were you, like, how familiar are you with your culture, or is that something that even came into this?
Well, my reserve didn't have any like culture or anything like that. The elders were really traumatized by the church.
Yeah.
So our community is like really urban.
Yeah. Very Christian based,
Yeah,
right?
very Christian.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon. I mean, people may not realize that, but that's actually quite common.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's traumatizing. That past, that brainwashing that they went through in the schools, that's a reality.
Yeah.
Right? So your story is not an easy one, but you're incredible. And I hope you know that.
Yeah.
Because when I first met Lillyanna, she's laughing and goofing around and being silly, and I absolutely had no idea your story. So you are incredibly inspirational, and I hope that if there's any youth out there or the viewers that are watching, share this with the youth so they know there is light at the end of the tunnel, even if you have to wait till you age out to find it.
Yeah.
Right? So thank you so much for coming out today. I super appreciate it. I know your story isn't easy to share, but I'm so proud of you for being willing to share. So thank you.
Thank you.
As always, please take the information you heard today and use it in your conversations, whether we're talking about guests in your home, sitting at your kitchen table, or around the boardroom table at work, in stores, in coffee shops. When you hear someone passing those judgments about the youth that you might see on the streets or someone struggling with addictions, share this information with them. Tell them about this TV show so that they can sit back at home and learn some things that bring us closer together rather than these divides that keep us apart. Bottom line, our kids, whether they're in our homes or in care, deserve better than the present child welfare system. And together, by having these conversations, we can make sure that they get the supports and trained professionals that they need and deserve. Until next time, this is Sandy Boucher as we're walking through the learning curve. Take care. Bye-bye.